Hi guys, how's it? Good morning from the US, and even daylight savings time, fall back at an extra hour of sleep. Still had to get up for this one. So yes, the USA Eagles victorious in their first game of this qualifying tournament for the final rep charge spot in next year's Rugby World Cup as they took on the Simbas of Kenya in Dubai early this morning here, local time. Game started at 5:55, 6 a.m. here locally, so hence my disheveled look a bit. I'm still kind of half asleep a bit, but let's go ahead and go through some of the new notes and whatnot and kind of talk about the game and kind of talk about some of the issues that I saw from the U.S. Early on in this game and kind of here and there throughout the whole game. So very, very kind of boring first 20 minutes of this game. Not a lot going on. Bad handling by the USA. Set piece issues by the Kenyans, and we'll kind of get back to that later on. But 6th minute in, CC Mahoney goes in on a tackle. No wrapping, nothing. I mean, it could have been a red card in some instances. I believe that would have been a red card, but he gets a yellow card, gets 10 minutes to the sin bin, and we go down a man for the next 10 minutes for the USA Eagles. About 12 minutes later, we get back to full strength. Jameson Fiona Schultz was after a scrum, aided by an excellent offload from Paul Lasiki, the former Chicago Bear, always a name that gets brought up multiple times whenever international broadcasters cover USA Eagle games, and obviously a guy, if you follow me on Instagram, who enjoys the praise that he does get from the fans. But it is called back because it looks like a knock on, and when you go back to watch the replay, you can kind of see, yes, he just pushes it forward with his hand, so no try at the 14th minute. A minute goes by, a kick to the left-hand side. Augsburger goes to grab it, but Jeffrey Okwach of the Simbas, a bit of a dangerous tackle, so he gets a 10-minute yellow card sent to the sin bin, and the Simbas are now down a man for 10 minutes. Kind of a lot of penalty trouble, obviously, for the Simbas. I brought this up, and their lack of experience really on the set pieces. The USA goes for a 5-meter line out. Dylan Fawsitt just grabs a quick little offload and runs right in for the first try at the 19th minute. Luke Carty does unfortunately miss the conversion, so it is 5-0 at the 19th minute. Several minutes go by, penalty on the USA, deep in their own, not deep in their own, but in their own end, and it looks like Makitsa elects to kick it. He is the leading scorer all time for the Kenyans, and he does miss the kick. He ends up going 2-3 on the day for kicking. 10 minutes later, Dylan Fawsitt, once again, after a line out of offside penalty from the Kenyans, and Luke Carty does convert. It makes the score 12-0 at the 31st minute. After having a try called back earlier in the 14th minute, Fiona Schultz finally gets one from Fawsitt, off an offload from Fawsitt at the 37th minute, and Carty does convert, going 2-3. So far in kicking, it is 19-0 going into halftime. So some notes, obviously, I want to talk about in the first half was the lineouts for Kenya were atrocious. Their starting hooker was really, really not good at lineouts. The set pieces were always issue. The discipline on the USA's part, countless ridiculous penalties. They should have not been committing. It should have not been 19-0 at halftime, considering how many points were scored in the second half. We should have had a much larger lead going into the locker room or into the sheds at halftime. But another note that I wanted to make was the few times that Kenya did get ball in hand and they had any space, they were insanely fast, which is what you'll see in the second half in their 2 tries that they did score. Absolutely speedy runners, very, very fast guys. You obviously know their success at the Sevens game, and you could see a lot of that speed when the Kenyans did have ball in hand and had some open space. They could run very fast, and it was, kind of interesting to see when box kicks would happen by Asati, their scrum half. They could run the ball down easily. Like, it was no issue for them. But we'll kind of go back to that. Ball deep in the Kenyan end, repeated penalties off lineouts by the USA. It's just not really, we get down to the line, nothing happens. And then finally, Fawsitt, he wants that hat trick. He gets it at the 47th minute, and Luke Hardy does convert, going 3 of 4. I think that was his. He get one more after that, and it goes up to 26-0 at 47 minutes. 3 minutes later, Christian Dyer gets the first of his 3 on the day. Big open space out wide to the right, and it's just numbers, and he gets it in, and that's the first of his 3 that he ended up having today. Luke Hardy does convert, and it goes up to being 33-0 at this point in the 50th minute. Several minutes elapse, man. Brian Juma, the Kenyans realize that the line out is not their best option, so they just start quick tapping it every time that there's an option to, and you see why. They are extremely fast. Brian Juma, multiple quick taps lead to this try. That man could run. Like, those Kenyans, like I said, man, when they had open space, you could not catch. They were so fast. And Mukisa does convert, so it is 33-7 at the 54th minute. USA answers back in quick succession. Nate Augsburger from Wilson off to the left side. AJ McGinty has come in at this point. He goes 1 for 1 so far on the day. And it goes to 40-7 real quick here. 2 minutes later, Christian Dyer gets his second of the day off the right side with numbers once again, just showing the superior ability of the USA Eagles when it came to the movement of the game. And McKenzie does convert. Another easy day at the office for him, 47-5 at the 60th minute. 64th minute, Dyer finally gets the hat trick with, once again, numbers to the right, and McGinty converts 54-7. Sisoni Fangi off the line out, gets one 4 minutes later. It's now 61-7. Mitch Wilson gets a try off a scrum a couple minutes later. And the big one at the end of the game, Joseph Weru for Kenya off the right side with numbers. Mukisa does convert, so we get a final score of 68-14. So we can talk about all the pluses and the minuses of the USA, but I want to go ahead and just talk about what I saw from the Kenyan Simbas. This was my first time sitting down and actually watching them play. Now, their set pieces struggled. Their front row, you could kind of just see a lot of offside penalties because guys just weren't getting set right when speed got going. But Mukisa, their wingers were super fast. I saw a lot of guys that Aquach was good. He was good. I mean, and then obviously with Joshua Weru coming in late in the game. Apparently, like I said, his father played with Kabui, my guest that I had on a video. And, I don't want this to be an issue of like, the USA, they finally put up superior numbers against an opponent that they should have put up superior numbers against. The USA should have done this. This was pretty much a given that this was going to happen, but the fact that you did see a lot of bright flashes from the Simbas, and I tip my hat to them. They are a hell of a team. They have some really good speed. It's just development. They need time to develop their players. Much like the USA, could you imagine where we'd be if we didn't have MLR right now? I mean, a lot of these guys would not be getting a lot of playing time. Got to bring up the debuts today. Obviously, Corey Daniel thought he was going to get a try at the end of the game. Didn't happen on debut. Ryan Reese did really well for ATL. We had a lot of really good debuts today, and then we looked at the Kenyan side where there wasn't really a whole lot of background on a lot of these players, for me at least, here in America. And I was not disappointed at all. I've seen much worse, and I've seen much better, obviously, but definitely a program that people need to watch out for because their dominance at sevens, you can tell that they are a seven-savvy team. When they did get the ball in hand, they were very, very quick. So like I said, I tip my hat to the Kenyan Simbas. They're not a bad team. They just need time, just like anyone else. They just need time to develop a program. And I think they have the bodies for it. You saw everything from really tall, skinny guys to really short, fast guys to big bodies. They do have, the size and the development. And I think they do have the ability to become a good, potent rugby union team. It's just going to take time, just like everything else. It's just going to take time. So obviously, the USA getting the bonus point victory, the 54-point margin does not hurt. They still have 2 more games to go. They've got to play Hong Kong and Portugal to hopefully get that final rep charge spot for next year's World Cup going on in France. And then we begin the whole process for the Australian Cup. And then we don't have to worry about the process after that because we are automatic qualifiers being hosts of the 2031 tournament. So, like I said, great game, very entertaining, especially in the second half when the Americans really started everybody started putting what they could out there. No disrespect to the Kenyans, absolutely great. The 2 tries they had were very, very memorable, very good tries. And if you're a Kenyan fan or a Kenyan out there, don't hang your head low. You did good. So that will end this video. I hope everyone has a great Sunday. I go back to work at a job that I was at for 11 years. I'm going back starting tomorrow. Took about a year off, it looks like, as I kind of hopped a few different companies, and it's time to go back to my regular job that I was at for 11 years. But I hope everyone has a great weekend, the rest of their weekend, wherever you're at. I'll talk to you again very soon. Cheers, guys.